Washington's own Shakespeare Theater Company, STC for short, started out at the Folger Shakespeare Library with a sold-out production of Romeo and Juliet. Today, it occupies 2 buildings in Penn Square and an important place in Washington, D.C.'s theater scene, as well as among American theaters that produce Shakespeare plays. I got to talk with award-winning director and STC's artistic director, Simon Godwin, about what the future holds for the company. What's your big vision for Shakespeare Theater Company?
I'd like to make Shakespeare Theatre Company the best classical theatre in America.
Godwin became the artistic director of the Shakespeare Theater Company in 2019. He succeeded Michael Kahn, who led the company since it began. I love this because we're getting to see the theater in its in-between stage.
They're about to build a new set on the stage, and it's very magical when you're reminded of how much these theatres can transform, and they're all about creating new worlds. And of course, that's what Michael Kahn was so brilliant at, the founder of Shakespeare Theatre Company. He was a great technician of the theatre, but also he created very spectacular worlds.
Under Michael Kahn, STC won a Tony Award for Best Regional Theater. Godwin is acclaimed in Great Britain for groundbreaking stagings of classic plays and world premieres of new works. I know that a lot of people probably said, even to you, when you got the job here, why choose somebody from London to come over here and run this American Shakespeare company?
Sometimes when you bring an outsider in, they bring a new energy or new eyes or new ideas. So I hope to sort of be that person for Washington.
You're working on multiple projects in multiple cities on multiple continents. What are you working on and how do you manage all of it?
Well, I still have a great link with England. I'm still an associate director at the National Theatre in London. And right now, Macbeth is with us in Washington.
Godwin's brand new production of Macbeth is breaking boundaries, setting audiences in modern-day war zones created in empty warehouses. We're taking them out of the theater, we're placing them essentially in the war zone. Do you want people to leave feeling a little uncomfortable?
I want people to leave feeling alert. One of the great challenges about being a theatre director is stopping people falling asleep. And what's extraordinary is how quickly people can and do fall asleep in the theatre. So the great thing about putting a play on in an entirely different space is that people are very alert, they're very engaged, and although it can be a little stressful, it's also very energizing because your antennae are up. It's back to out of the comfort zone. The play is a very contemporary study of the kind of drift towards tyranny that I think a lot of countries are trying to negotiate right now. And we very much put the audience in the heart of that debate, whether it's that you walk through the war zone, whether you're sitting in a warehouse, whether you're exposed to these arguments in a very intense way. And I would say with Macbeth, that intensity has never been greater.
We are coming into the hallway of one of my favorite places here, and that is where you display these costumes.
Yeah. This is a really fun outfit from Much Ado About Nothing. This is for Beatrice and Benedict finally getting together at the end. We wanted something jolly and colourful, and that's what we got.
And glittery.
One of my first Shakespeares here was Much Ado About Nothing, when Beatrice and Benedict were warring co-hosts of a news broadcast, and the news reports were from other Shakespeare plays. So it was an attempt to make a kind of Shakespeare universe where you got all Shakespeare plays in one.
Then we're moving into King Lear. This one is iconic. I think we've all seen a picture of Patrick Page in this outfit at some point.
Yeah, it's fabulous, isn't it? Funnily enough, I first met Patrick Page when he interviewed me for the job.
Wow.
I began to think to myself, what is the big Shakespearean role that Patrick is now ready to play with his incredible voice, his charisma, and his emotional vulnerability, which is another superpower that Patrick has.
While we, unburdened, crawl towards death.
And I thought of King Lear, and we decided to go for it. And it was the most successful Shakespeare the theatre has ever produced. And that was just a wonderful endorsement of Patrick and a feeling that, oh yes, if I'm running the restaurant, the Shakespeare restaurant, this is the kind of dish that people want to eat.
I love how passionately you speak about Shakespeare. Tell me what it was that made you fall in love with Shakespeare.
I had a mom who was very enthusiastic about theatre and took me to shows when I was a child. I was lucky enough to have a great teacher who instilled in me a love of theatre and a love of Shakespeare. And when I was at school, this teacher asked me whether I'd be interested in playing Hamlet. This was when I was 16 in the school play. And I spent the summer holidays listening to a radio broadcast of Kenneth Branagh playing the part.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
Listening to this, I think really embedded in me a fascination with Shakespeare's mind, how he put ideas together, and how he was able to create such drama in lines like "'Tis now the very witching time of night, when churchyards yawn, and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world." These are very charged phrases which compel an audience to listen in a very different way from, well, any other writer that's really written plays since.
I am so excited to show our viewers this little treat.
Well, who would have guessed it? Shakespeare meets Elvis Presley.
I love it.
My soul, what's wrong with me? I'm itching like a man on a fuzzy tree. My friends say I'm acting wild as a bug. I'm in love. I'm all shook up.
This is a kind of good luck charm in the form of Elvis Presley.
The king himself.
He's with you as you walk on stage to deliver your Shakespeare performance.
I'm all shook up.
Godwin is known for casting top Shakespearean actors such as Ralph Fiennes and Indira Varma. Why is this version of Macbeth resonating so well with people?
Well, I think people are always glued and gripped by this play, Macbeth, probably more than any other Shakespeare play, in that it's this study of evil and what it's like for someone to become so obsessed with power that they're willing to destroy everything they care about to get it.
Is this a dagger which I see before me?
And at the heart of it is Indira, who is playing Lady Macbeth, who is a kind of agent of ambition.
What's done cannot be undone.
To see that quality on stage in this play, in this moment, in this production, I think is exciting people.
I love this space, the open windows. You are set in the middle of DC. How do you think that brings the community together in this theater space?
Well, I think theatres belong at the centre of a city. They belong at the centre of people's lives. And so for me, it's really thrilling that the Harmon Hall is right here, as you say, in the centre of activities. And you kind of can't miss it.
You have directed at all of the great theaters in London. You could have done anything else as your next adventure. Why did you choose Washington, D.C., and why did you choose Shakespeare Theatre Company?
For me, the fact that Shakespeare was in the name of this theatre, that this theatre was so committed to doing these plays, was very compelling for me. And indeed, I had been aware of it in England as being one of America's premier classical theatres. And I was really curious about America and working in the country's capital.
What do you foresee for you all for the future?
It's not about business as usual. It's not about theatre being for one group of people and not for others. People from all political backgrounds can be in a dark room together and concentrate on something that might bring them together for an hour or two. It's so precious, and that's my great hope.
Simon, thank you so much for joining us on WETA Arts, and we can't wait to see what Shakespeare Theatre Company and you do next.
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been a real pleasure to talk, and it's great to be in your city.
Simon Godwin's Macbeth runs from April 9th to May 5th, followed by Matchbox Magic Flute starting May 21st. The fall season brings more stars to the DMV, including Matthew Broderick in Babbitt and Hugh Bonneville in Uncle Vanya. Check out shakespearetheatre.org for details. Hi, I'm Felicia Curry, host of WETA Arts. To get more ideas on what to see and do in the DC arts community, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Thank you for your support.